Happy 2026. I am talking about the woman who I'm becoming in 2026 and the woman who I really believe you want to become too this year. And I'm going to be sharing the standards that will shape my life this year. I think this is going to inspire you. I think that this is going to get you really excited. What I want you to know is that this is not a goal setting episode. Today's episode is totally different. I love setting goals. You'll be hearing all the other podcasts talking about goal setting. We're not doing that here. This is not a goals episode. This is not a vision board episode. And this is definitely not a new year, new me conversation. Not doing that. This is an identity episode because I have learned something over the years in my life, in my businesses, in my faith, and obviously in the women that I coach. And that is your year doesn't change because of what you want. Your year changes because of who you decide to be. So today, I want to share the woman I'm becoming in 2026 and the standards that will shape every area of my life. So first, I want to talk about what I'm leaving behind. Before I talk about who I'm becoming, I want to be clear about what I'm leaving behind because elevation requires subtraction. It just does. So this is what I'm leaving behind. Number one, hustling to prove my worth. This is something as an Enneagram 3 and a very type A personality. This is something I have been working on for years. I'm moving further into this. I am leaving behind hustle culture, even more than I have in the past. I don't need to prove my worth. I'm leaving behind overgiving at the expense of my peace. I am leaving behind waiting to feel ready. I'm leaving behind making decisions from fear or urgency. I'm going to leave behind carrying what isn't mine to carry. And I'm going to leave behind shrinking to make other people feel comfortable. Now, these patterns served me once, but they do not belong in the life that I'm building now. So not everything that you have survived in your life is meant to come forward with you. I hold experiences as precious teachers, but it's okay to bless and release those. So I want to talk to you about the woman I'm becoming in 2026, and maybe this will encourage and inspire you as you're thinking about this too, as we're all kind of collectively thinking about who it is we want to be and what it is that we want to do, right? So the woman I'm becoming in 2026, she moves differently. So she is calm. She is even more decisive. She trusts herself very deeply. She doesn't question or second guess or ask a million different people all their different opinions. She listens before she reacts. So self-control. I mean, some of these things are really rooted in the fruits of the spirit, right? She doesn't chase, she chooses. She leads her life from her identity, who she knows herself to be, not from emotions. Not that emotions are bad. They're very informative. But I'm not going to lead my life from emotions. She honors her faith. She allows ease without guilt. She allows rest. She allows respite without feeling any guilt at all. And she receives without apology. And that's probably been one of the most difficult things for me is receiving. And that's actually the word that I chose. Every year I choose a word for the year. And the word that I chose for 2026 that I've chosen is receive. I will be receiving without apology. It's already done. And most importantly, out of all of those things, she no longer negotiates with the version of herself who's afraid. So I'm becoming the woman who just feels safe holding more, who feels safe receiving. And so now knowing those things, there has to be standards around those things that will shape my life in 2026. And standards are how identity becomes reality. These are some of the standards I'm holding in 2026. So my first standard, how I spend my time. I am going to protect my time like it is sacred because it is. As I'm getting older, time is just becoming obviously the biggest commodity in my life. So I'm not sharing it with people I don't like. I'm not spending it on things that aren't purposeful. I am not going to be wasting time. I'm going to protect it like it's sacred. The second standard I'm setting for myself this year in 2026 is how I make decisions. I decide once and I move forward. I don't second guess aligned decisions. I know in my gut when a decision is right, but fear a lot of times will cause me to second guess. And so I am deciding that once I made a decision, I'm just moving forward and I'm not questioning it. A lot of people get nervous about this one. And I'll just share this as an aside. So many people are like, well, I'm afraid if I make this decision, what if it's wrong? And what if it doesn't work out? I don't know any high-level CEO who isn't decisive. And this is what I know as I've become a better decision maker and a better leader. When I make a decision and I don't second guess it, when I actually practice this, when I decide once and I move forward, even if it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to turn out, that's okay. There is always a redirect. It doesn't explode my life. So I'm going to decide once and I'm going to move forward. It also saves a ton of time. Standard number 3. Again, these are the standards that will shape my life. The third standard is what I tolerate. I am not going to tolerate chaos or inconsistency or complaining, self-betrayal, gossip. I have always had a hard line with gossip and complaining. Those are things I do not tolerate. I hate those things. But chaos and inconsistency, self-betrayal, those things have to get even more dialed in. So that's a standard that I'm going to be very diligent about holding, what I tolerate. Another standard, my fourth standard, is how I work. I am going to continue to level up how I'm working from clarity and not pressure, from alignment and not this sense of urgency. I have to get this done. I'm not going to operate from that. It is a nervous system killer. It creates so much anxiety and stress when you work from pressure and not from alignment. And then the fifth standard is around receiving. So I am going to really hold the standard of how I receive. I will allow support. I will allow ease. And I will allow abundance. I'm going to let it all flow in like I have never allowed it to flow in before. So I want to be clear with you, though, my standards are not rules. These are reflections of who I am now and how I intend to move forward. Okay, so I want to talk about why identity beats resolutions. Most New Year's resolutions fail because they focus on behavior without addressing identity. So you can't outwork a self-concept that doesn't believe that it's safe to have more. You can't outwork a self-concept that is doing something to appease other people, please other people, or check a box. You have to change an identity. When identity changes, that's when your habits will change. That's when decisions change. That's when you create different boundaries, so your boundaries will change. And that's also when you're going to see that results in your life change. And it's without force. It's because you're operating from a new identity. Identity is the root. I can't shout this from the rooftops enough. Everything else is a symptom. So you have to get to that root of who you are. And then you'll understand why you're operating the way you're operating. So this is my invitation to you, my sweet listener. If you're listening to this and something and you feel stirred, if you know you're standing at the edge of a new version of yourself and it's so exciting to feel that way, let me say this to you. I want to say it very gently, but I also want it to be very clear. You don't need another year of doing more, of hustling, of grinding it out, of more strategy and, even more action. What you do need, though, is a year of becoming more of who you are, rooted in your faith, rooted in your identity, knowing what you believe to be true is actually true, praying with the conviction that it's already done. The woman you want to be in 2026 does not require perfection. She just requires commitment. That's it. And it's not as hard as you think. So, as a reminder, your identity creates your outcome. It's not effort alone. Yes, you need effort. Yes, you need action. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're already really good with those things. But identity is what creates the outcome. Number 2, standards shape your year more than goals do. Set some standards for yourself. Like, this is what I will tolerate. This is what I will not. These are standards in my life. And then the third thing is that the woman that you become determines the life that you live. When you're operating from this identity, and you can even write out who she is. Who do you want to be in December of 2026? What does that woman look like? How does she act? How does she carry herself? What does she believe? What is she consistent with? What does she not tolerate in her life? Write out your own avatar of yourself, because the woman that you become determines the life that you live. So if you're ready to step into this next version of yourself and you're needing support, you're needing guidance, you're needing the deep identity work that you know you've probably been needing for a while, if you're ready to go next level in your life, then I would love to talk with you. I would love to link arms and walk with you. So reach out to me. You can reach me on Instagram. All the information is in the show notes below. And just all you have to do is send the word activate. I mean, you can send me a message. I love it. But send the word activate. I'll know exactly what you mean. And we will start talking about how to take these steps forward together and create the best year of our lives. Now, go and be the woman your future is waiting on. Happy New Year. So excited for everything that God is going to do in our lives this year. Be blessed.